Welcome everyone, Mike Bowers coming to you today from my city park. Different video for you guys today. I wanted to do a get to know you video, tell you a little bit about my background in barbecue and how I became a barbecue YouTuber. But first, we got to start the fire. Said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. So first of all, barbecue wasn't big in my house. I was born and raised in Texas, born in Arlington, Texas, right outside from where Hurtado Barbecue is. I was raised in a small town called Alvarado, Texas, home to Johnny Trigg for all of you competition guys, and went to school in nearby Venus, Texas. Growing up in the Venus, Alvarado area, I only knew of one place that ever served barbecue. Couldn't tell you the name of it now, maybe Shorty's or something of that nature. All I remember is they had very thin cut brisket and an amazing sauce. And no matter what anyone tells you, born and raised here in Texas, I never heard about the sauce rolls until I was about 25 years old. We always had sauce with our barbecue. And the first time I heard that, I was like, that's not true. But apparently it's very true for the Central Texas region. Kreitz Market was probably the most famous for that. But yeah, I grew up in Texas eating sauce. And to be honest with you, barbecue wasn't my favorite food growing up. In fact, I hated it. If we went out for barbecue, it was usually a local DFW chain called Coulter's Barbecue. I think they were bought out by Famous Dave's and there's only one left, which happens to be the one that we would go to the most. So if you want to see me do a video review of Coulter's Barbecue, probably about 30 years since the last time I had it, let me know in the comments below. But my dad, he never cooked barbecue at home. Didn't have a smoker. In fact, he only had a gas grill. He did work a lot, but he was home most often. But when he got home, he didn't want to mess with the fire or the charcoal grill. We used a gas grill, and steaks, hamburgers, hot dogs, chicken, things of that nature, and it was good. I used the gas grill all the way up until I got married myself. So for really the first 20 years of my life, barbecue wasn't a thing. Then I got to college. I went to school in Lubbock, Texas at Texas Tech University. And when you're single and on your own, a lot of fast food. I do know how to cook, so I would cook at home as well. But you get tired of the same things over and over again. And I had a boss who would buy us lunch a lot of times. And two barbecue joints that he would go to the most is a place called J&M Barbecue in Lubbock, still there, and a place called Whistling Dixie, which is sadly not there anymore. And that kind of got me back into the barbecue phase. It was a little bit different from what I'd had before. Mainly sandwiches. J&M had an excellent roast beef sandwich, and Whistling Dixie had a nice chopped sandwich on a hoagie style roll, which I really enjoyed. Had to move to another park bench. The one I was at was starting to get a little too much sun for this pale guy. But as I was saying, Lubbock, Texas kind of introduced me to the barbecue. They had sauce there as well. Big fan of J&M Barbecue, Whistling Dixie Barbecue. Later got introduced to a place called Bigum's, which became a favorite, and of course the legendary Tom and Bingo's chopped beef sandwiches. Became a pretty regular thing for me. Bigum's used to have plates that I would get, and I really started to have barbecue more than I've ever had in my life in college. One night I was doing what college kids do, drinking with some friends, and they had brought a smoker from San Antonio and started making some smoked chicken. And man, I kind of got hooked on smoked chicken there for a while because that stuff was freaking amazing. They did a really good job, and really the first time I'd ever been a part of cooking barbecue. At the time, college budgets weren't that great. Even though brisket back then was still 99 cents a pound, we could get a whole thing of chicken for like $4 that'd feed 15 guys. So yeah, chicken was pretty much the only thing that we would ever cook. Post-college, I moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I had grown up in the southern part of the Metroplex, but now I was living in the Plano-Frisco area. Worked for a now defunct company called Countrywide. I was a loan officer there for 12 years. And corporate life in that area back in the early 2000s was pretty crazy. We worked hard, but we played hard as well. One of my friends from work was a Tech fan. His dad is actually a professor at Texas Tech University, and so we kind of connected on that. Tech was playing UT down in Austin, and we decided we're going to go to the game and just make a great, fun weekend in Austin. On the way down there, he told me about a barbecue place that he wanted to go to called the Salt Lick, and we had planned to do that after the game the next day. On the way down there, though, we stopped at a place called Rudy's Barbecue, and Rudy's was the first place that I've ever been to that was market style. Every other barbecue joint I'd been to for the first 23, 24 years of my life was, plated barbecue. 2 meats, 2 sides, and a drink is how it was served. I'd never seen this. I thought that was the wildest thing in the world, that they had somebody there charging you by the half pound. And honestly, I didn't like it. But when I got my food, went to sit down, they had communal tables there. I was like, man, strike 2. I don't know if I like this at all. But then I bit into it. And you guys are gonna laugh now, but that was some of the best barbecue I'd ever had. And we're talking about a chain restaurant. Now back 2002, 2003, it wasn't the chain that it is today, but it's still, a place that had about 8 locations around the Austin, San Antonio area. I was like, man, this is fantastic. I'm loving this. And that honestly kicked off my love for barbecue. Now, we were supposed to go to the Salt Lick 2 days later, but as young 20-year-olds with more money than they should have at the time, we got pretty drunk after the game. And the next day, all we wanted to do was head back home to Frisco. So we skipped to Salt Lick and headed back home. And speaking of Rudy's, that sounds pretty good right about now. And just like that, we're here at Rudy's. Rudy's is a special place for me. Like I said, it was one of the first times I ever had Central Texas style barbecue and got barbecue like the meat counter. It is a chain, but that's okay. I loved it at the time that I had it in Austin. They didn't have any locations in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But about the time I was getting married, they built one in Frisco, Texas. And my wife and I moved right next door to it. Our first place was there in Frisco next to Rudy's. And I went and got breakfast tacos there all the time. Loved it. When we finally bought our first house, it was in Allen, Texas. And I was honestly going to miss Rudy's. But good news had it is that they were building one in Allen, and that's where we're at today at this one. And it became a special place for me. When my daughter was born, we would get up early in the mornings, and I would let my wife sleep. We'd go get breakfast at Rudy's, whether she was young enough to still be on formula. She'd have formula, and I'd have a taco. Then we'd go over to Cabela's next door to look at the fish. As she got older, she developed a love for chorizo, and so that tradition just continued. Then when she was 5, as I've talked about before, she was diagnosed with cancer. And when you're battling cancer, your immune system isn't the best because of the chemo. And so we tried to stay at home quite a bit and not go out to restaurants. Rudy's was that exception. When we go early in the mornings, we come sit on the patio where nobody else was, and we would have our chorizo and brisket, egg, and cheese tacos. And it was one of the few times that she got out of the house. And so Rudy's really became a special place for us. And I talk about that a little bit more in another video that I made when I first started the channel. I'll put a link to that in the description below. So honestly, we moved from Allen about a year ago, and this is probably the first time we've had Rudy's. Maybe the second time?
Yeah.
My daughter's off camera here. We still do the daddy-daughter days. She's about to turn 13. We still come to Rudy's for daddy-daughter days. I love that. But, sorry, getting a little emotional here. It's been a while since she's been here. Usually I ask for a fresh slice of brisket so they don't give you the chopped. Forgot to do that. But this still looks pretty good. Brisket, egg, and cheese on there. Pretty loaded up. I will say they're smaller, more expensive, but that's everything. Especially if you're going to a corporate place, but they look just as good as they've always been. I love these. You get a nice post-oak flavor on the brisket. Because Rudy's does use real smoke. They don't use the gas smokers or anything like that. You can see the wood fire in the back. And you can taste it in the flavor. A little greasy. This is good. I'm putting some of their salsa on here. They used to have like a red and green. I only see the red now. It's not bad. I like it. It's good to be back in it.
This is my childhood.
This is a special place for us. The only downside of this visit is that they didn't have her chocolate milk. She loves the chorizo, egg, and cheese with chocolate milk. That's been her go-to order pretty much her entire life. And we're not in our usual spot. And that's just because I didn't want to record strangers. Because I don't like to be recorded in public. I know it's kind of wild being a YouTuber, but I try to keep people out of the videos as much as possible. Sometimes it just can't happen, but if I can make it happen, I do. So back to that Austin trip. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to go to anywhere besides Rudy's, and our goal was to head to the Salt Lake. So it was about 4 months later. We went to 20-something-year-old men going on spring break. We went on spring break, so we went back through San Antonio, and on the way to San Antonio, we actually stopped at the Salt Lake, and I actually got to experience that. It's a beautiful, beautiful location. At the time, it might have been the best barbecue I've ever had in my life. Excellent brisket, excellent ribs, the rolls they served, all you can eat. You saw the big, fire pit as you walked in. It was a great experience, and that's when I fell in love with the tradition of barbecue and the barbecue joint experience. It was awesome. So that's how the obsession started. I was stopping at barbecue joints if I saw something that looked exceptionally well and more the Central Texas style meat market setup. Didn't really have much of those in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but anytime I was in the Austin, Central Texas area, I'd hit it up. And then I got married, and then I had a kid, and my barbecue obsession started because I needed something to keep me busy at home. My wife's grandmother's husband had passed away, and he had a small little master-built electric smoker he had bought, never used, and it was given to me. So I started on that. Started making briskets. I sucked. I sucked big time at it. But one day, I figured out something, and it clicked, and I was hooked. It was one of the best briskets I'd ever had at a restaurant or at home. And so I would continue making briskets and that. I would make smoked chickens, and of course, as the obsession began, I would go to the internet to find out more. And so on the internet, I found a Texas barbecue group, which unfortunately just went away this past year. It's now just a Facebook group called the Texas Barbecue Forum. Everybody there talked about ugly drum smokers. At the time, I didn't have $500 to spend on the smoker I really wanted, and that was actually the Old Country Fake at the time. So I found an ugly drum smoker for just under $300, and that thing was perfect, man. I love that smoker, and I used the crap out of it. And I learned how to cook barbecue on that. Brisket, ribs, pork butts, you name it. I got my barbecue chops on an ugly drum smoker, and the thing was perfect at the time. I didn't think so. I thought it was cheap and low key. It couldn't be a serious barbecue guy on an ugly drum smoker. And little did I know, a couple of years later, that's what everybody be using for the competition market. The one thing I didn't like about it was the flat lid. Sometimes, depending upon the humidity here in Texas, the lid would get condensation and it would go back down in the meat. So what I would do was wrap the top with foil, so any condensation that did drop down, did have a lot of soot, it was just water vapor coming back down on the meat versus anything nasty. So during this learning process, I wanted to learn more. I wanted to see what restaurants were doing. At the time in Dallas, there was a new barbecue restaurant opening up at the farmers market called Pecan Lodge. Decided to check that out. Happened to be around the same time that they went viral on diners, drive-ins, and dives. And it was fantastic. My mind was blown. It was better than I remember the Salt Lake. It was great. My first really introduction into craft barbecue. And after that, I was really hooked. I wanted to see exactly what I could do to learn as much as I could. So I went on a pilgrimage to Austin. There I hit up Franklin, had the opportunity to sit with Aaron and talk to him. Great guy, always has been. This was probably about 2014, so he was already a pretty big name by then. And for him to sit down and talk barbecue with me was awesome. He told me other places to go try, like La Barbecue at the time. John Mueller had a place still there in Austin. And then, of course, he told me about Valentina's Tex-Mex Barbecue, which is one of my favorite places. I hate to see that they closed down and had some issues when they went from a food truck to a brick and mortar, but that place is special. So that's all I did. I cooked and went to restaurants. And about 2015, somebody's like, you should make videos or write a book or something like this. And I'm not a writer at all, but I started a blog, and at the time it was called Guns Up Barbecue. I chose that because I did go to Tech, and it seemed like every barbecue competition team, which I eventually had wanted to do, had something like that. So Guns Up Barbecue is what it became. And I would literally go to a barbecue joint anywhere I was at just to write about it. The first trip I took was picked up by Texas Monthly, and they used to have a barbecue blog themselves where they shared my experience and posted a link to my blog. And man, that was pretty cool. You know, to have Daniel Vaughn and Texas Monthly share my content the very first time that I posted it, that was pretty awesome. And I had a lot of fun with that. And then I guess it was probably about 2016 or so. I really wanted to make a name for this, but at the same time, I didn't want to be just focused on restaurants. I wanted to do the backyard cooks. So I changed the blog name to the Bauer's Backyard Barbecue. And not only did I post restaurant videos, I posted backyard cooks as well. And then I originally turned that down to Bauer's Barbecue. So yeah, that blog was fantastic. So much fun to do. Met some great people through that. Got invites to such cool events as Evie Mae's grand opening, Troubadour Festival. Actually, back then it was Red Dirt Barbecue Festival when Chase was running that in Tyler, Texas. And it was pretty awesome. So my timeline might be messed up a little bit, but I got the Rec Tech in 2017, started cooking on that, still blogging, still posting on Instagram, and toying with the idea of YouTube. YouTube has been something I just started watching. I was watching a lot of Disney vlogger content because we were about to go to Walt Disney World. And I got into it, and my daughter was like, why don't you try that with barbecue? It's not a bad idea. So I filmed a couple of like walkthrough videos. I was scared to death to film in public, and didn't really turn out very good. And then unfortunately my daughter was diagnosed with cancer, and that kind of went on the back burner. I cooked a lot on the Rec Tech during that time because it was nice and easy to use. I could still cook and take care of her. And then as she got better and healed, we decided that we're going to start this YouTube thing up. So the first video that I made for YouTube was a chicken wing video with my daughter. She had bald little head, and she helped me season the chicken wings, and we made a video, and it was a lot of fun. And that kind of kicked off YouTube for me. I did some cooks in the backyard. I started doing restaurant reviews and traveling. I think one of the first restaurant reviews I did was, what was the first restaurant?
Goldie's?
No, it wasn't Goldie's. Goldie's was a couple years later.
Goldie's Grand Opening.
Bodacious Barbecue. Bodacious Barbecue in Longview, so was one of the first ones I ever did. And I had a blast. I was hooked on that. And that's how this channel got started. I started doing, restaurant reviews and doing backyard cooks. And then, my passion just grew. I will say though, as the pandemic came around, I didn't know what I was going to do with YouTube. I screwed up. I said I wasn't going to post, food videos because a lot of people were having access issues to food. I didn't have that, so I decided not to film for a little bit, and that was a mistake because most people who were still filming during the pandemic were blowing up. So it might have been 6 months into the pandemic of like, I'm gonna start making videos again, and I did. Started cooking more in the backyard. At this time, I started watching more barbecue YouTube, and it just took off from there. I had the opportunity to meet some of the people that I watched online. They became mentors for me, which was really cool to have that community there. So some of my favorite barbecue vloggers or barbecue YouTubers, whatever you want to call them, are pretty daggum good. If you've ever seen Justin over at Babyback Maniac, his videos are insanely awesome. We did a collab one time where I went to his house and cooked, and man, he made me look awesome. And it wasn't my best cook by far that day, but he made it look good. But some of the people I enjoyed the most were the people who were just sitting down and talking. I like Malcolm Reed because it's not a bunch of editing, it's just him cooking in his backyard. He's got a little bit more technical these days, but that's awesome because his success is amazing. He could have a whole crew now if he wanted one. But I want to be more like Malcolm Reed when it came to the backyard cooks. and I wanted to be more like a vlogger out on the woo when it came to restaurants. I kind of wanted to show the restaurant around so you could see it from a customer perspective and not really a documentary type perspective. And I still like that today. It's still what I plan on doing. Again, I want to do my videos simplistic, you know, maybe more talking to the camera, more backyard cooks like Malcolm Reed, and more restaurant reviews where I just kind of show you the restaurant, show you the food, give you my opinion, and the video's over. I like that kind of content. I'm not sure many other people do based on my views, but I enjoy doing that. Okay, so we are probably about 5 minutes from my old house where I started this channel at. Let's go take a look at that. All right, change of plans. My daughter's with me, and she didn't like that idea. You know, she's dealing with, you know, the after effects of cancer, and that's where we were at when she was sick, and she doesn't want to go back there for those memories, and I don't blame her. You know, come to think of it, I don't know if I want to either. It's kind of the reason why we moved, so we can have a fresh start. But I'll put a picture here for you guys to see. We lived in this house for 13 years. I have cooked so much for YouTube in that backyard, and did like the setup at first, but it ended up being a really good one by the time things were said and done. All right, so I'm back home. So the house was good to us. We just needed a change of scenery, so we decided to move. About the same time, I needed a change in YouTube. I have been doing it for about 3 to 4 years this time. I wasn't growing as much as I thought I would. Kind of disappointing. To be honest, I didn't start this wanting to make money from it, but seeing other people do it kind of made me want to. I wanted to do it for fun, and man, it just wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all. I felt like I had to stick with barbecue only. They tell you, you know, barbecue, or that, not just barbecue, but anything. You want to find a niche on YouTube and stick with it, and I didn't want to. You know, I thought about it. I changed this to Let's Get Barbecue, and it's going to be just doing restaurant reviews because I thought that was niching down even more to just restaurant reviews. And I wasn't enjoying it. I wanted to break away. Like I said earlier, I started watching YouTube based off planning my Disney trip. My daughter went on her Make-A-Wish trip to Walt Disney World. We became hooked. Call me a Disney adult. Whatever. We love it. In fact, you'd be surprised how many of your favorite barbecue pitmasters are Disney adults as well. I booked Disney vacations, and I've booked Disney vacations for a lot of those people. But you won't see any Disney content on this. I actually started another channel for that called Mike of the Magic. If you want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description below. Do all my Disney Universal content. 45 years old. I love going to Walt Disney World. I love going to Universal Studios, Orlando, and Hollywood. I love going to Disneyland. You name it. I enjoy every aspect of that. It's the one place where my family can relax. We feel connected as a family of 3. You know, not having siblings to entertain my daughter. We have to. Disney and Universal provides that for us, where all 3 of us can have a great time. You know, in addition to the parks, we also enjoy the cruising. But again, if you're interested in anything like that, check out my other channel. But yeah, as we needed a fresh start with the house, needed a fresh start with YouTube. I saw a guy, Jeremy Sires, you know, he said he did enjoy YouTube as a niche. He wanted to just do videos that make him happy. And so I told you guys here about a year ago that I was gonna start doing that. And honestly, I haven't. I've branched off a little bit from barbecue. You know, you've seen some fast food reviews from me. Typically they're barbecue related. But that's all changing. This channel is still gonna have barbecue on it, but you're gonna see more of every restaurant out there. I've really gotten into pizza YouTube. I'll not only be making pizza, I'll be doing pizza reviews at restaurants. I'm gonna have fun with YouTube. I don't want it to be a business anymore. Would I still like to make money? Absolutely, but I'm just gonna have fun, bring you guys along with me, and film what I want. If you're only here for the barbecue content, I hope you stick around. If not, I completely understand, but I'm tired of barbecue. I enjoy the process of cooking it. I don't enjoy the process of eating it. If I'm gonna be doing barbecue restaurant reviews, which again, I'm still gonna do because I enjoy being with the people there, but I'm gonna see more of their unique dishes. I think brisket, ribs, and sausage is becoming the same everywhere. So if they have something that's special, such as the Blue October sandwich down at Burnt Bean Barbecue, you know, brisket, egg, and cheese on a croissant, stuff like that. If it's something unique to that restaurant, that's what I'm going to showcase. And I think this will open up a lot of restaurants in general, because a lot of great barbecue dishes don't make the Texas Monthly Top 50 list, because, you know, that's really based on brisket, ribs, and sausage and the overall experience of the sides. I like creative menus, whether it be the Blue October down in Burnt Bean or the brisket Frito pie at Cackle and Oink in Sherman, Texas. I want to bring that kind of stuff to you. In addition, as I mentioned earlier, I like Adam LeWoo. I like what he does. He does theme parks. He does small town festivals, does small town tours. That's more of what I want to start making videos on, where I'll start off with a location. Just say, for instance, Denison, Texas. You know, I could go show you the birthplace of Eisenhower. Then by the end of the video, we go to a local barbecue joint or a local burger joint, whatever the case may be. The ultimate goal of this channel is going to be, you know, food centric, but travel as well, because I love traveling. And while we go to Disney World and Universal a lot, all that's going to be on the other channel. Every other traveling to do is going to be here on this channel. So the cool thing about this is I'm planning on doing 3 types of videos. One, it's going to be a barbecue video, whether that's cooking in my backyard or a restaurant review. And I'm going to put that under the Bowers Barbecue playlist. So I can still use that name. It'd be kind of cool to have the Bowers Barbecue back. You've probably seen that on a few videos recently. Anything barbecue related is going to be my Bowers Barbecue playlist. Then I'm going to do fast food reviews. I've had fun doing those. You know, before we moved to, we're actually in Texoma now, to the area, I never ate much fast food. And I still try not to. But my buddy Brian Brakeman over at Brick Eats does a lot of fast food videos, and they look fun. And I've had fun doing those. And honestly, they get more views than the barbecue stuff does. So I'm going to keep doing them. I'm going to call it the Fast Food 5. That's going to be the name of the playlist, where I try to give you a fast food review under 5 minutes. I'm loving those. I think the best one that I've done so far was the smoked brisket at Chipotle. One of my best viewed videos in the past year, which is kind of sad, but at the same time, it's growth, right? That's what I'm actually aiming for, along with having fun. In addition to that, I got another section called RV, which is random vlogs. This could be anything from, you know, pizza reviews. It could be a Mexican joint review, a taco joint review. I guess same thing as Mexican food, but, you know, tacos, Asian food. My favorite food is Asian food, believe it or not. Give me some Korean food or barbecue, and even better, Korean barbecue. I'm gonna pick that over Texas barbecue. I am burned out. I've spent the last 15 years dedicated to this. You know, if you talk to any pitmaster out there, they don't eat barbecue in their spare time. They want something else, and I've reached that point. And I have a feeling if I continue just doing only barbecue content, not only will it burn me out more than it already has, it's not really fair to the restaurant owners, because if it all tastes the same, I'm not doing their place justice. So a lot of rambling, but I thank you so much for watching, getting to know me. So my plans for this channel may not be what you want, but I need this. I can't do barbecue content forever. My sanity won't take it. My health won't take it. And that's another thing we'll talk about in the future. My health's actually in great shape. I need to lose weight, obviously, but I've never felt better. I hope this tells you guys a little bit more about me. You know, 45 years old, loving life. I just want to make YouTube just as fun as the rest of my life. I think it's going to. I really look forward to making different kind of content than just barbecue related. I know I said this a year ago, and I did branch off a little bit, but I was still kind of tied back. I felt like I still had to do some barbecue content, and I still will. But yeah, this channel is not going to be about barbecue anymore. It's going to be about Mike Bowers and what I like and enjoy. All right, hope you come along with me. Until the next video, the fire is out.